Hi, is anyone there? I'm probably talking to no one. I hope you're having a good night. I did some witch makeup. Went to Nightmare on 19th Street. Have you guys been to Nightmare? It's really great. I was super scared because although I'm witchy and I go into scary, scary places, I'm not afraid of ghosts really at all. But when people jump out of a corner or I think you're a statue and you're not a statue, shit like that. Like Ghost, I know y'all are there. And like we're on this wavelength of that, like I know that you are dead and you don't know you're dead and you're scared to be there and you're as scared of me as I am of you. Because I do talk to ghosts and they're usually like spiders, more scared of you than you are of them. But in a haunted house, there's another fear dynamic. And they do a good job there, you know? It's an adrenaline rush. If you go through with the ride, it's great. I went with my good friends. I had people to hold on to, and that made all the difference in the world. So take a friend. My kids chickened out on me tonight, so. But I would love to read some tarot cards for you guys if you are there. And even if you're not, I'll read some cards for you guys anyway. Maybe you can see this later and this reading's for you. I hope you guys are having a great spooky season. I would love it if you would come on and give me some tips and we could see how fun of a reading this could be. But since I have 10 fans and all of you are asleep, I'm just going to sit here and burn my candle. I was burning some Palo Santo. I do sell those. Burn a candle when you're doing any sort of clairvoyant activity. I recommend getting a Valhalla bound candle. They smell great. They ionize the air. They're decorative and they're beeswax. So get you a Valhalla bound candle. First Friday Art Trail in November. Y'all come out. I am going to be in Muse that day. Rock, Paper, Shears, 1103 Main. Friday, November the 3rd, I think. Robert Q. Garza is going to draw me. So I can't drink beer this week and I have to go to the gym. So fucking A. It's not easy being a Muse, you know. I just want to sit on my ass all day and eat bread. Turns out, not an option. So, my favorite part's how no one's here. I really love engaging with you guys. I know some of you send me videos and some of you send me requests. I can't get to every single request on a timely manner, mostly because I don't do anything when people want me to do it because time's an illusion and I'm a Libra. And I've done just enough psychedelics to not really think time is a real construct. And so if y'all want like a picture of me doing something specific, I will get to you guys. I'm not trying to be a bitch about it. I just have ADHD that my doctor says is off the charts. And I get distracted and chase squirrels a lot. Sometimes I have to be in the mood to do certain things. A lot of times in the mood to do nothing. I am glad you guys are here. Thanks for sticking around. Those of you that have played Words with Friends with me will understand that I try to engage back with you guys. Sometimes I don't, but mostly I'm trying my best. But do you want a tarot reading or what? If you want a private reading with me, we can arrange that as well. A lot of times men, especially people from this platform, sometimes I'm apprehensive to meet with you guys in person for obvious reasons, but that's not saying that can't be done. I do have a professional atmosphere, a place where you guys can come, and it's a business. We can all meet there, and I feel safe, so I'd be happy to meet with you. I can do it online too. I don't need to be with you in order to read you. I connect with many of you psychically anyway. And spirit transcends time and space. I say that a lot. And what do I mean by that? I mean, okay. If you guys tip me some money, I would take off my clothes because I have no self-respect and I'm poor. But since no one's on here, we're going to talk. Yeah, I'm very influenced by Edgar Cayce. Some of you may know who Edgar Cayce is. Most of you probably don't, which is sad. So I'm trying to teach the world about my Edgar. This was a man who was born in Virginia, West Virginia, in the late 1800s. He was a Baptist Sunday school teacher. Born on a farm. No, I'm just kidding. He was born in Kentucky. I don't know, whatever. He was born in the South in the fucking 1800s when you had no choice besides to be a Baptist farmer. I am descended from people like this, okay? Arkansas Baptist farmers. Also, interestingly, bootleggers and musicians. But I digress. Edgar Cayce. This man became paralyzed in his throat. He couldn't speak. And this is the Romantic period where Freud was coming about right around this time, right? I do have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I love Freud. Some people don't like Freud. I don't give a fuck. I love Freud. I like Jung more. Freud and Jung were peers. But anyways, it's about this time when psychiatry became in vogue because of Freud and Jung. So hypnosis was a thing at this moment. I love hypnosis. I would give anything to learn how to administer hypnosis. I think there's a lot to it. I think you can go back to past lives even. I think you can go back to suppressed childhood trauma and work through it because that's what we're all doing here in life, just working through our childhood trauma, right? Well, Edgar Cayce can't speak all of a sudden, spontaneously. He finds a hypnotherapist that was recommended to him by a doctor. In this day and age, hypnotherapy was a science. It wasn't poo-pooed like it is today. All you people want to act like the only things that matter are things you can study under a microscope. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of things we don't have the microscopes to study, with which to study. Okay. So Edgar Casey goes under this hypnosis to get his voice back. The man takes him under. He immediately cures himself, diagnoses why, and speaks in a different voice, by the way. So the man gives him a hypnotic suggestion. Edgar goes under. He cures himself of this throat paralysis. Okay. It was a psychosomatic type issue. He goes underneath, and when Edgar went under, he would say he had no idea. He had no memory, had no recollection while he was asleep. He was called the sleeping prophet. Go Google him. Edgar Casey, Cayce. So he cures himself. It freaks him out because he's a Baptist preacher and nobody really knows what's going on, but he's able to cure himself. But he kind of ignores it after that. He's able to speak again, so he kind of goes on about his life. And then fast forward a little while later, a little child got burned pretty severely. And when this child gets burned, the parents come running to Edgar, and they heard about that he could heal himself from this throat paralysis. The parents go find him. So he allows himself to go under to help this little child that got burned. Okay. Edgar goes under, and I remember he prescribed something called liquid of smoke, and no one could find it. And it was a thing that was in a county 2 counties over. He said, go travel to this county, find this liquid of smoke, right? Nobody had, it was telegrams. It's the 1800s. Okay. They don't have telephones, So these people go over there, can't find the shit, come back, and he's like, goes back under, and he tells them exactly which shelf, in which back cupboard, in which pantry or whatever that's like hidden. Exactly where it is. They go back over there, find it exactly where he said it was. Come back, give it to the child. She's cured. She doesn't go blind. She almost went blind from these burns, right? So Edgar eventually ends up setting up hospitals and healing centers. He heals many, many people. He does. He's a photographer by trade. He's an introvert. He's quiet. He doesn't even, much like me, I like read tarot for people, but I'm an introvert. I want to be at home alone. That's how Edgar was. He was a photographer. He was close to his family, and he did not interact with people except for in readings. But he never read people face to face. This is what makes me think about this. He never had them face to face. He had a hypnotherapist. He had a stenographer that would write everything down, and then often his wife was there, and sometimes his son. And so he had a small room where people that were close to him, he felt comfortable. He would always unbuckle his belt and take off his rings, and then he would go to sleep. And now Edgar was a Pisces, and deep, deep blue eyes. Like Pisces people tend to have deep eyes, but Edgar was a Pisces. So the reason why he'd go under is because later he discovered this, but in a past life he was in Egypt, and he was left for dead in the middle of the desert, and he willed his spirit out of his body while he was dying. And so that gave him a proclivity to be able to get out of his body, astrally project, if you will. And nobody really knows exactly who was talking through him. It was an aspect of himself, maybe his higher self. There's a lot of speculation about that. Even Edgar didn't really know because he couldn't remember it. But this man would come in and speak in a really rigid dialect, because if you read the Edgar, I've read a ton of Edgar Casey books, and you have to really struggle through it because it's like an archaic way of speaking. And sometimes in translation, you can tell it's an old, ancient, archaic soul that's speaking through him. Okay. Um, and he would go under, help many people. He healed many people. All this stuff is documented. Okay. Like there are some things that if you were to scrutinize it scientifically with the scientific method, one could argue that this is scientifically sound because enough. Okay. For example, they would say, read this person at this time. They would be in another place, in a different place, all like somewhere far. He would say, we have the body. Okay, they would give him a name and an address, and then put him under and say, go read John Doe at 1543, whatever. And he would find them. If they were, he would say, oh, they're wearing their pajamas, or they're reading their newspaper, or like he could see exactly. And sometimes the people wouldn't be there, and he'd be like, oh, he's in his elevator getting ready to be in the apartment. Like he would go into this trance and he could see anywhere, all over the world, instantaneously. He tapped into what was called the Akashic Records, which was, the way he saw it, an actual physical book. And he would tap into the collective unconscious. Once again, Carl Jung talked about this. So if you think about humans as being little droplets of water in a vast ocean, down at the very bottom of the ocean where all of it meets, that's a collective unconscious. And so one could hypothetically tap into all of the consciousnesses that have ever been or ever will be, and we're all connected. And so that's kind of what Edgar would do. But he also actually tapped into the Akashic Records, which was like a library, and pull a book with your name on it, and there would be like all of your lifetimes on it. Because once again, Edgar did believe in reincarnation, although he did not believe in it at first. Because again, Baptist 1800s. This was unheard of. This is unheard of to some of you. I got in almost a drag out fight with someone one time over this. Y'all get real. Listen, I don't know. I can remember some of my past lives have been since I was a child. There's quite a few books and documents, if you would be open-minded enough to go read them, of children that remember their past lives. Some pretty convincing shit. Okay. There's a book called Lifetime After Lifetime, or Life After Life. Can't remember. I'll let my friend Amy borrow it. I can find it. But there's a lot of, I'm not going to call it speculative evidence, but there are quite a few stories of people who have pretty good recollection of their past lives. Now, I do have some. They come in vague at first, and then, anyway, I digress. Edgar didn't believe in reincarnation in his Sunday school classes, and then he would go under, and then people would say, why do I have this ailment or that ailment? And he would say, because in a past life you did XYZ, and this is this. Sometimes it was like, this happened in this life, and you had injury or something from this life. But many times he would say, especially with like relationship issues or even physical issues, this is karma being paid off from a past life. And when he went a little bit further, he talked about Atlantis in great detail. And this is something that I don't want to talk about today because I'm really passionate about it. Edgar Casey's book on Atlantis fucked my whole world up when I was young. It never did. I'm obsessed with it. All of it. You cannot convince me. Most of the time I will say, I don't know this or that. I can't, the thing about some people who have belief systems is that they'll say, this is true, and I know it because my pastor said it, and that book said it, and it's true. And I'll usually say, I don't fucking know what, like, I'm not an agnostic. I've done enough psychedelics to understand there's a God, seen enough coincidences, talked to ghosts, what the fuck ever. I am not an atheist. Thank you very much. Okay. I believe in God. Thank you very much. I have moons and stars on my face. Believe in reincarnation. Also believe in God. Okay. All right. Not an atheist. I am a theist. Thank you very much. Okay. But this one thing I will say, I believe there's enough evidence to suggest that Atlantis was a real place. I have a master's degree in archaeology, anthropology, technically interdisciplinary studies, technically, whatever. Do they ignore the evidence that's right in front of them? And, I mean, Plato says it plain ass out loud. I don't, there's there's so much underwater that people don't. There's a book called The Dark Abyss of Time, and please don't even get me started with it, but you can only see what is in the surface of the top of the layer of what's left. And think about how our technology is today. Like, our kids all are on fucking laptops and stuff, and they don't even take notes. Like, our kids don't even write shit down. That's all stored on a fucking computer. What if there was a ginormous flood that wiped out civilization, which I really think we can all agree happened? It's called the Younger Dryas. All of the whole Anunnaki and the ancient Sumerian myth and the Enuma Elish and the Epic of Gilgamesh and all the Bible shit is a watered down version of that. Listen, there was something that happened in the water levels, at least in the equator Mediterranean world, at 10,000-ish BCE. We know Göbekli Tepe is a thing. When I was in grad school, they just skimmed over that shit. Just skimmed over. Nobody wanted to fucking talk about Göbekli Tepe. Like, even Mr. Hot Stuff, my professor, he was a great archaeologist from Stanford, brilliant man. I fought with him all of the fucking time. I drove him insane. But when we got to the part about Göbekli Tepe, he said, y'all can ask me about that in my office hours later. Pretty much in the middle of the lecture. He like, that's all that was said about Göbekli Tepe. And that was an undergrad class, mind you, not a grad class, I think. But nobody brought it up in the grad classes, did they? Because nobody wants to talk about it. Go Google Göbekli Tepe, okay? Like, message me. We'll talk about that later. We can safely say civilization was very far advanced in the Younger Dryas period of 10,000 BCE, okay? Before Common Era, which is about 1,200 years before present, okay? Edgar Cayce said that the Great Pyramids were built in 10,500 BCE. He said it took 100 years to build them. And he said a lot of other things too. He said it was the Atlanteans after the flood that migrated over and built those motherfuckers. Okay. That's what he said. He said also went to the Yucatan and some of the mound people that were like in the Mississippi region of America because the coast looked different then. Okay. That's what he said. This man didn't believe it. He was just a little Kentucky fucking farmer. And he would go under and have all of this like scientific stuff about how to like physically heal. Like, doctors would consult him. He started a hospital. He healed enough people that you can safely say that the man was a healer. Like, he actually would go to sleep, come up with remedies. A lot of it had to do with diet. But anyway, so I know no one's on here. I don't give a fuck. Y'all are timid me. You can't see my tits. Listen to what I have to say. Whatever. It's my channel. I know y'all hate me. It's fine. Pay extra. You want me to hate you, like make you hate me more? Cost you extra. You want me to annoy you? You know? Have y'all seen that show Bonding? And she has that man that like does all her laundry and she yells at him and then he pays her. Is that why is that concept so much to like fathom? You know, maybe I need to move to New York and find me like just a slave to just do my laundry. Because at this point, I would give anything to have a laundry slave. That's really all I want in life, y'all. But right now I'm on here just trying to keep the fucking lights on. So I'm glad no one is awake at 1 o'clock in Lubbock, Texas on a Saturday night. Also, you can't buy liquor after 9. Also, all the fast food places are closed. Like, Lubbock. But, you know, it's all right. It's just like a little in the dark ages of progress when it comes to things like, I don't know, marijuana, for example. Concepts like reincarnation and cyclical time. But, you know, I know none of y'all give a fuck what I'm talking about. And I'm wearing a tutu telling y'all about Carl Jung. You should Google him. That's all I'm saying. He talks about archetypes. This is why I have no money, by the way. Yep. Wrote my out. Comparative mythology. I made a performative piece that was watched by 4 people. Okay, look. I played Inanna. She's my bitch. If I could become Inanna, I kind of have like some Inanna vibes right now, by the way. Inanna Ishtar. Istanbul was Constantinople. One of those deals. Inanna Ishtar kind of thing. I'm tapping into her right now. I'm secretly so nerdy it hurts. And this is why I don't have friends. My family doesn't invite me to Thanksgiving. So it's fine. I'm sure at this point, 28 minutes in, there's not a goddamn person that's made it this. If you have made it this long, 28 minutes into my bullshit, no nipples, nothing, you're a winner. If you made it in this long, we're going to have a secret word. And if you message me this word, then I'll know that you are like truly one of my homies for life. Because I have no idea who any of you people are, really. But I'm really glad you're there because I get no validation from people in my real life. So, thanks for like. I made my kids, I told them that they made me cry actual blood today. So, because I have teenagers and it's not my favorite. But I still have one that's a baby, so that's still good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one wants to hear me talk anymore, so I'll leave you alone. But if you made it this far, the secret word is Ishtar. And if you message me that word, I'll give you a special present. And I promise you'll like it. Promise. Okay. Ishtar, and I'm out. Love you guys.